Okay, before we get started, apparently there was a person who was had a long rifle and a scope who was on the outer perimeter of Donald Trump's golf course that they fired shots at today, earlier today, and with the help of the general public, tracked this individual down, and they're treating this as another attempt on the president's life. So that's where they're treating it. Now, you have to understand that normal attempts, you just can't spot somebody with a gun and start shooting, which is what the Secret Service did, right? But at the end of the day, this is what happened. I don't know why they're treating it as an attempt. There hasn't been an investigation done yet. I'm sick of this hyperbolous nonsense. Look, at the end of the day, this is on him, and until we get more details, we're not treating this like some sass attempt. We don't know nothing about the person. We don't know what's going on. So to call this another attempt is kind of far fetched and out there. What's wrong with go?
Hey, what's going on, MOT? Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I took
I've been
a
following
look
this
at.
story. So.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the story. I'm following it a little bit. It seems it's saying that this guy is some type of MAGA supporter. He's a MAGA guy
Again, again.
again, a MAGA dude. Down, he's
Mm-hmm.
totally down with you, but he wanted Nikki Haley and these people. He wanted to be a part of that group. They've mentioned this guy's name, but I don't know, if they have all the key information on this guy yet. So we'll have to see. But it looks as though that this is some type of MAGA far right wing guy who's out there, against Trump, thinking that he's not maybe a real repub or whatever. However, these guys think. Difficult to really say until they really break down what this guy's background is all about here. But that's some of the kind of sketchy information that we have on this guy so far. Now we know a lot of these right wingers have a lot of guns and all of that, and they're out there, willing, apparently must be willing to use them, and they're popping off shots around Trump. So if this is the case, that's kind of what we're looking at. If it is correct, if it is right, if it is, we don't know if it is. It apparently is some right winger. So
Again.
I don't, that's what we have so far. Whether or not it's totally accurate or whatever, we'll find out.
All right. So since we got that out of the way, let's give a shout out to the people who come up here. Ike, Pork Chop Proprietor, AO, Keith Smith, Stephen Bishop, Eric Bird, Running Our Son, Rat, D2, D2. That's it. All right. So for me, again, you have to put it out there. Why are MAGA people trying to get their own dude up out of there? This is we two for two. We're not talking about some crazed black supremacist. We're not talking about some reparation, homeboy. We're not talking about some transgendered person with scopes and rifles. We're not talking about anti-Second Amendment people. Remember, you got to understand what is it about your own people that they want you up out of there? What is it? You know?
I believe you have some people who, even with their deep, extreme views, they have a fundamental view of America. They have a view of America. And maybe they don't want blacks, or maybe they don't want foreigners, maybe they don't want this, that, or the third in there. But they do believe in some semblance of a constitution, um, of a constitutional, republic that we're in, and that this needs to be maintained. They do look at Trump as as somewhat of a risk. Trump did say himself, he did say, now how this is taken by others is hard, but he did say, hey, look, don't worry, people in 4 years, we won't need to have any more elections. After this thing is over. People don't really want a constitutional monarchy, if you will. They're not looking for that. They're not looking for a kingship or a dictatorship. Some people really don't want that because they figure if you're going to be a dictator, you're going to come in, then you're going to tell them all what to do, and and they have to listen to only one group, and and they can't live more of a kind of type of a libertarian type of lifestyle and kind of live their own way. They understand what what a authoritarian, totalitarian state might look like, and some of these people are against that. And we see that coming deeply from inside of the Republican establishment, because true conservatism kind of rings around that. And if conservatism is true, and you're looking at those who may have those kind of effects on your own freedom, then you do have a right to go after these people and try to take them out. So some of these folks are literally taking this literally. That's what I do believe. And they're looking at this, and they're looking at what Trump is having to say, and some of these people are reacting viscerally to some of this. They are having a visceral, violent reaction to some of this. Those are the people that are more in your far extreme right, and you have them there, and they're willing to try to take a move at you. So that's kind of what I believe we're seeing somewhat of. And you have those others saying it's Antifa and all that, and these foolish people who don't truly understand, what this thing is built on. The only thing people have to do is go right back to the 1964 RNC and listen to Barry Goldwater and that whole crew as to when people looked at that as a radical speech he made, but it follows right down the line of this, if you really look at that. And that's something that I think we're seeing a bit of right now, which is very interesting to see. Which is very interesting to see. Somewhat scary, but interesting. That's my take on it.
As it is. Well, we're just going to keep going. All right. So, one of these individuals showed up to the debate. One of these individuals arrived a day early. They did debate prep. And there's one person who flew in at 7:30 Eastern time knowing that he had a debate at 9 p.m. Can you guess who is who in that scenario?
Yeah, we know exactly who that was. Let's say the late arriver. The late arriver was Donald John Trump.
Now, what people don't understand is this dude has always been this way. Always have been this way. Now, this would be acceptable if this was Hillary Clinton. But you've served as president before. You went through 3 debates with Hillary Clinton, all of which he lost. Went through 3 debates with Joe Biden, the 2020, all of which he lost. So you can't say that you don't understand debate prep. That would be crazy. You were told about this debate in advance. The people who you tried to do debate prep with are not individuals who talk about policy. They're not even in politics for the most part. I think this dude thought he was going to bulldoze the debate like he did with Joe Biden, which he did bully his way into getting more time, which he always does, which is, I think, is a positive for him. But when you bully for more time and you don't make sense with the time that you've been given on top of the time that you actually bully to get, why are you up there? What's going on here, man? Why are you up?
Nobody should have been up there, but let's just say this: if he was going to be up there, he should have been prepared. Yeah, he did think he was going to pull his way through. He was, however terrible debate prep that he had. I believe they tried to prep him, but he was like, "Listen, this person, she's stupid, she's dumb, and these things, these some of these platitudes they were used, that he was using, and people were buying into. Um, you know, I believe he started, believing some of that himself, and then, he thought he could just go in there and just run over this person. Why would somebody think Kamala is dumb and stupid and these types of things? It's pretty ridiculous. And I know you have these people who were thinking about her 4 years ago, thinking that people have not evolved. I mean, she was a senator, then now she's vice president, and moving around the world and talking with world leaders and dealing with all different manners of going to all around the world, all around the country, having talks and so forth, speeches. So she has matured a great deal. You mature in politics, experience matures you as well. So she wasn't the same. Anybody who was thinking she was the same is very foolish. But anyway, um, I believe he took it that way and thought that this thing was going to be the same as it may have been, with Tulsi Gabbard 4 years ago or whatever, and just did not, anticipate things being different. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, always said, "Underestimate your enemy, you will be a captive of them." So he underestimated the whole situation and thought he could just literally pull his way through it, alpha his way through it. This is what he
Still after his
this
way through it, all right.
this is what he thought. And and in all reality, I'm going to say this. I see BA said, "How did he allow a DEI candidate to mop the floor with him?" Trump is the DEI candidate. When you look
Yes.
at how this thing is, he's the DEI candidate. Okay, he's the one who's got the affirmative action on the side of the white community. He's the white guy with all the with all the with all the givens and giving them the breaks and giving them the opportunity. He's the DEI guy,
Now,
and that's and
now,
then that's what happened with
now,
him. Yeah,
legacy admissions is a DEI program,
yeah, it certainly
but
is.
listen, legacy admissions is not about competing to get into the school. Okay,
No, it isn't.
so I don't understand the DEI people who just like you know what? Look, sue to get rid of legacy admissions. That's the only thing you had to do. And
Yeah.
guess what? They quietly would have brought back that minority status based thing as quick as you can see, because there's far more people who come through with legacy admissions by a long shot. There ever would be individuals who get any of these DEI programs. It's not even that many people that even go through those programs. So to even try to take it away, when there's an overabundance of individuals who goes through these schools, we have some ex presidents who's actually who who crashed multiple planes, which I've never heard of. But that's what happens. So this is what it just doesn't make any sense to me that you are a Wharton graduate, but on a mission, or whether somebody did the work for him or not. What does it say about your alma mater when you give this sort of performance after you became president? I could see him having this performance during like the Hillary Clinton thing. I could see him having this type of performance for one of the actual debates. But this performance, there's really no excuse for it. You
Well,
can't speak.
when you're arrogant and you think that you're just going to have to say, "Oh, she's dumb, she's stupid," and so forth, unprepared, and you know that um, Kamala was preparing for 3 to 4 weeks before that, and her preparation was very, very, very intense because she had taken some time off the campaign trail. You didn't see her barnstorming as much. So they were in there like she was studying for the bar, my man. She was in there going hard, and they were ready for him. They were ready for him. So when he came in there with his madness that they knew that they were going to encounter and had him psychologically profiled quite well, they tore him out the frame. And they made him literally say some of the craziest things, unlike I have ever heard in almost any of these debates that I've seen. And I've seen debates from Richard Nixon straight up to present day. And I have not seen anything almost nearly as bad. I mean, I've seen some things that were bad, but
I'm embarrassed on
this
his
this
behalf.
was bad.
I'm
This was bad.
embarrassed on his behalf. I shouldn't be. I'm not going to vote for him. I was never going to vote for him. But I was embarrassed by several things, especially, the city where, I spent a lot of time in. And there's people even within this space who was talking all this crazy shit about Aurora, Colorado. I'm like, you got somebody here within the space who's from the area. There's no real reason for you to be talking all this crazy shit about Aurora, Colorado when you have somebody here from the actual area. Like, here's the thing. Full disclosure, I know the guy who owns those apartments. I know him personally. I know him.
Hmm.
That guy doesn't give a rat ass about none of those three apartments. They're all shitholes. They all don't have any air conditioning or any of that. And they force him to fix the heat in the actual wintertime. They know this guy, he's a slumlord. At the end of the day, he does not care. And the government throws a gang of money at him whenever these immigrants need a place to stay when they come here. His places are definitely infested with all types of pest control issues. Always been the case. We're talking since 99, since I got here. 99. It's been the same. It's been the same. So what they do is, like, none of that stuff really happened. That guy can amass an army quite quickly. Nobody is taking anything from that guy. All right. But for conspiracy theories and things that should have been fleshed out by a long shot, should have never entered this debate. Should have never entered.
Well, they're running on a lot of um, fear mongering, yes, hatred, um, division, and definitely a very much a anti-black type of motif, if you will. That's there that they're running on to galvanize their base. If you listened to the Trump debate and listened to him, he was not speaking to the um, swing voter per se. He was talking to his
No,
base. He
dude, like,
was
okay, you're supposed to be hyper partisan in the
he was talking to
primary,
his base.
which he was. You're supposed to run toward the middle and be more moderate and seem more reasonable during the actual after that stuff's over with. But there's a difference between an undecided voter and a moderate slash middle of the road person. There's a difference. The middle of the road slash moderate is going to pick a side at the end of the day. They're going to wait
They are.
till the last moment. But for an undecided voter, chances are they're never going to participate or they're never going to be on your side. So this is why I think that it is a very bad idea to market toward the undecided voter. Because the undecided voter that don't even care, they're not even part of the process. The only thing they're here to do is try to see who's going to kiss their ass for their vote, and they're not going to participate anyway.
Well, you have a lot of swing voters coming in. We have looked at the numbers as far as the new voters that are coming on the rolls, and the new voters that are going to be coming into this election, and that number hasn't fully been really polled or looked at as closely as it needs to. As we see, registrations are increasing as of right now, and they've actually increased a great deal more since the debate. So things are really starting to heat up a lot more from more people coming into this race. And once again, you have, the younger millennials and the Generation Z people who are coming in who like politics, who will be getting
Yeah.
involved, who are getting involved with this. So they're coming on. You have to look at being able to appeal to some of them as well, and they're going to make a difference. Trump wasn't really running to that, so he wasn't looking at that voter per se in his mind. He was more or less going hardcore for his base, and said some things that were absolutely that were that were hyperbolic almost beyond measure. So these things are, have have deeply, kind of, I think are affecting some of the electorate right now, of which I don't think um, they're being properly polled. That's how I would see that as of right now. So you have your swing voters, and when we look at the Republican side, or we look at the MAGA side, Trump, has literally over the last 4 years has been at that steady 46.6, 47%. That's where
Yep.
he's been. He has
Yeah,
not
pretty
gone beyond.
much.
He's at that solid 47%, 46.5, 47% level. Some say 43%, but it's between 43 and 47%. That's where he's been. He's been steadily there, and he has not gone up literally since he's really hit the political scene. Um, and that's where he is. That's where this man is, and he stayed to that during the campaign. And I think that's literally where Kamala and the team wanted him there, because you have David Plouffe, who is their big strategist today. He was part of the Obama campaign team then, and he
Yeah,
is a
both of them.
numbers. He's a hardcore numbers guy, and he knows where the numbers are. And if you can freeze Trump there, freeze him in those numbers, then at the end of the day, you can you know with a turnout election, you can utterly finish him. So I think that's what they're trying to do. Whether they will achieve this or not is another question, but that's the look that we seem to be getting right now. And why Trump fell into these traps and did not get out of it was, I don't think he felt that it was going to be that important that he could just kind of run his way through it. And it backfired on them. They did not they did they did not prepare what they needed to prepare for this. And maybe even if they did prepare, Trump himself, with his profound weaknesses, that the that the Harris team understood, made sure that they played to those, and they were pretty successful.
So this is what I don't get, and I also don't understand about this. If you know coming in that this is going to be your only time where you two are on the stage at the same time, why would you not prepare more to make yourself look more presidential on stage?
he he
Why
definitely
would you not do that?
he thought he had it. This guy had to think he had it. That was it. There's no logical reason to look. Anyone who understands, you know, politics or preparing for a debate, you have to really prepare for something like this. You have to prepare. People over prepare. There's some people who get over prepared for things at times, but this guy didn't prepare at all. He felt he had it. There's no other logical explanation to make for this, which was a profound mistake. I mean, this is rumbling all throughout the Republican establishment. This is a this is
Okay,
this
so
is this is a big problem. Yeah.
given the history, okay, it's time to break some news here to just show you just how stupid these people are who watch this debate. If you watch any debate, the Republican Party never talks about what they do for the middle class. It's not even a part of their party platform at all. Mitt Romney never talked about what he was going to do for the middle class. Mitt Romney was a venture capitalist guy running into companies, buying them up, selling off the assets, stealing the pensions. Donald Trump, robber baron by every sense of the word, cheated on his taxes, bankrupted a charity, bankrupted casinos. Everything that he touched turned radioactive and explodes, and it's nearly a shell of itself afterwards. George W. Bush, the type of person who would trade Sammy Sosa. I mean, again, another business guy came into a good economy with Clinton, left it in shambles. Reagan, Bush 2. No, Bush 1. Neither one of them cared about the economy at all. They was playing this culture war game. The media was in on it for whatever reason. And it didn't end well when it came to the economy. So if the economy was your issue, why on earth would you vote for a conservative? Because if you take conservatism to its most extreme ends, you have to look at the southern portion of the United States, Indiana and West Virginia, as the actual outcome of where conservatism is actually going to be. You have to look at that. I mean, am I wrong? Am I missing something?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But remember, as far as running on the, on this economy and really getting into the numbers and getting into any type of policy that this guy has, they have none of that. You can run on his record and you can definitely attack him on his record. So they don't want to talk to that. They don't want to speak to that.
His record is COVID and how many jobs were lost over COVID. That's what his record was. His record was giving away the treasury to corporate America, especially the first PPP loan, especially the first round of PPP loans. That's what his record
is. I mean, and this was after he inherited a great, not a great economy, but he inherited an economy that was fixed and well on the mend after Obama. We looked at what Obama inherited, and then we looked at what Trump inherited. Just let's talk about that. What Obama inherited, and then what was passed on to Trump. And Trump had an economy that was growing. Well, exactly. And as president, yes, you can ultimately now take ownership of that. Yes, things are happening on your watch, and if things are good on your watch, you can take credit for that. Regardless if somebody else did it, you can take credit for it as long as it's on your watch. Yes, you can. But you also then have to take ownership of things that go wrong on your watch as well. And we saw what happened with them as, the economy was improving, employment was increasing, things were moving a certain way. But the minute a very difficult situation happened, which would have been difficult, once we have said this before, for any other president, with COVID, he certainly didn't handle it right. And you heard the vice president say, we had the worst drop in employment and the economy since literally since the Great Depression. We had to recover from that. So that's where you were. That's what happened.
Jobs didn't cut back either. Like that whole hospitality sector in the South, dude, none of that shit came back, and it still haven't came back.
Yeah,
years later.
Exactly correct. Right up here near where I am, right on one of the big thoroughfares that we have is Central Avenue. We see some of some major stores and so forth have not returned. So we've seen some very bad things happen that have adversely affected the economy. But anyway, we want to bring things back on the mend, but Trump had a very difficult time dealing with that situation, and he was not successful. So things have come back a good ways, and you have to give a lot of credit to the current administration that helped to bring things back successfully. And quite frankly, I think people are going to vote on that. I think people are going to look at that. They're going to, in the 12th hour, they're going to look at, see where they are, how things have moved. And we have inflation decreasing and all these different things that are going on. They're going to have to, take a hard look at that and see really what went on before. And I think people are going to vote on that. I think people are going to make their decisions based on that as well. As far as this debate was concerned, it was a disaster I believe, for the former president, and I think some things were tough for him because in this debate, he wanted things to where there were going to be no fact checking.
Yes.
He wanted no fact checking. He wanted the mics to be on, and he wanted really to be on Fox News, and that's what he really wanted, and things didn't move into in that direction. So this debate didn't play to what he wanted to see or what he really wanted to have, and it really worked against him. Fact checking and everything was a big problem for him. So will he want another debate? I can understand why he doesn't. Early voting is going to be coming about shortly in many states. So another debate for him is not going to do him a lot of good. So why get out there again and just try to run things the best that he can right now? Would Kamala and the team want to have another shot at him? Of course, because they want to, when your enemy is sinking, throw him throw him a bowling ball instead of a life raft, to further sink him. So, I mean, that's what they would certainly like to do. And that would make sense. But, as far as Trump is concerned, it's not within their interest. Because, having another bad showing, will not help them. Will not help them at all. And he didn't help themselves in this one. So, I see why things are going downhill for them. And they do not want another debate. And I thoroughly understand why they do not want that to happen.
But it does go to show you that when conservatives mess up, and I mean mess up bad, you can look at the weapons of mass destruction in the Iraq War. They treated Joe Biden's debate performance worse than they treated those troops coming home or lack of them not coming during that time. I mean, the amount of things you can get away with by being a conservative or Republican, because, they're all about tax cuts for large multinational corporations and the media included. People play this middle of the road type of benign, both sides do it stuff. And it's like, dude, it just ain't there. It just ain't there. We know this was a bad performance. This guy is going on and saying that he won the debate. What we're seeing is a preview of what happens when he's actually going to lose. If you cannot admit that you lost a debate, that everybody sees that you actually lost, like, why should we trust you with anything?
You see, this debate was just not just on just the facts of what really went on with both respective administrations and being able to answer to that, but it came down to be a character issue of a leader, the character of a leader, and good leader is not a tremendous liar and somebody who is in delusions and fanciful and thinking all kind of crazy things. You have to be grounded, and you have to give people a sense of kind of where you're going, and you have to be able to communicate that as well. A good communicator is just not somebody who tells the truth and kind of breaks things down intelligently, but he or she can make one feel somewhat confident that they're going to get somewhat of a real shake. Let's really talk with this person and let's see where they're really coming from. How are they really going to at least attempt to try to help us? And you have to be able to to communicate that or get that across. Difficult to achieve all that you might want in a presidency, but certainly people have to feel like you are really, really on their side and be able to communicate that with them. When you lie or you come across as a liar, when you come across as really shaky and shady, people don't trust you. There was a character issue here, and when you talk to a lot of people, you have to judge them on their character, and the character that came across with respect to the former president and the vice president was stark. It was stark, and the stark difference, and that's significant. You can't play that down either, and there'll be people who will not want to accept that, but you have to look at that too as it's a big part of the reality, and that came across. Forget about the eating cats and dogs and all that insanity.
Oh, come on now.
But the characters you had to come across. I mean, the cats and dogs stuff was way out there. And I had somebody from South America giving me a call talking about how crazy even other people in other countries have heard this, and they're like, "What?" So that's hitting at some different levels, but the character aspect is a big piece.
All right. So he would have to know that he's going up against a former prosecutor. And for a former prosecutor to sum up their points very quickly is something that's not difficult at all. Not difficult. I think he had a far easier job than Kamala. The only thing he had to do was come up and say, "This stuff has never been tried. It's fanciful. It's all pie in the sky. I've never seen. I don't see any proof." But he was in the corner. And with these debates, they tell you what's going to be discussed. So these questions are not popping up out of nowhere. That's why there's 3 debates. There's 3 debates. You know what the debates are all about. You know what topics are going to be discussed. They give you a wide-ranging issue of topics going to be discussed. So people are like, "Oh, well, the moderators were getting in the way of the debate." Like, no, moderators do what moderators were supposed to do. They think that Dana Bash, that first CNN debate, was how actual debates go. That's not how debates go. You say something too crazy, you as a moderator is supposed to moderate. Like the same thing happened in when Romney just kept lying and they have to correct Romney during the Barack Obama debate between Mitt Romney. They're like, "Oh, the actual moderator got in the way." It's like they're so used to lying to people without any filter that any type of pushback or any type of corrective record is somehow not allowed. But lying to people is. So we got the most purportedly religious party who depends on bearing false witness as their actual debate strategy without any type of correction. I never really understood that.
Well, that's why he didn't like fact checking, and that's why they want to come after the debate moderators as being unfair, and and Kamala had the had the answers or had the questions all before the debate and all this kind of craziness because
she's so stupid. There's no way she could have prepared, even though he didn't prepare at all. There's no way she could have prepared better than him. He's the greatest mind on the planet, and it's like, dude, okay, you have did Joe Biden come out and actually say all the things that Trump is saying as an excuse for his action? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. I think he admitted it up front. That she won another debate, that means she lost. I'm like, well, when you beat the pass off of Joe Biden, you asked for another debate immediately.
Of course. Of course.
Uh,
Of course, everything was okay, and Joe Biden admitted that wasn't my best performance. I wasn't at my best. Joe Biden admitted he wasn't on top of his game. Now, Joe Biden didn't, sit there and lie and say all kind of crazy things like Trump did during his debate. He just seemed as though this was more of a uh, this was more of a show of whether this individual was 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 really, was he too old for the office now? It became that, was he too old for the office? People had to, they looked at it and said, hey, can he carry through? He could, but the way he sounded, people made a judgment on the fact that the president didn't sound as though that he sounded like he was too old. Maybe the presidency was going to be a bit beyond him. So that's what the big concern was. He stepped out of there quickly, and then and then Kamala, his vice president, stepped up. And the vice president's job is to basically come in and fill in for the president if he's not capable. And that's what their job is. That's the VP's job. The VP's job is not it's they're not making laws or anything per se. I mean, they are the tiebreaker in the Senate, but as far as an administrator, that they that's not their job. Their job is to wait to be president. So he stepped down and she stepped up, and there it was. So that's what we were looking at. But the referendum on Biden was, hey, listen, maybe you're too old for this. Maybe you're too old. Maybe this is beyond you. And that's what happened. Now she stepped up, and Trump, came in there, and he's the Republican nominee, and Kamala got it ultimately as well, and as far as the Democratic nominee as well, and here they are, both squaring off with each other, and if this debate didn't go well for either one, hey, listen, that person's going to want to have another shot at them, and hey, listen, Trump did not do well, and now he's saying things were unfair for him, and all that. You see it all now. You see what these people are saying. Oh, this is terrible. He was cheated somehow again.
everybody knows he lost. Everybody on
He,
Fox
you know,
said
he,
he lost.
he was
Everyone
cheated.
everywhere has said he lost, and I've never seen a president go into the spin room after an actual debate is over. The
He went
spin
there
room
because he was
for
trying to
certain,
spin the he was
not
trying
the
to spin the
candidate.
spin.
Spin room is
What?
for certain, not the candidate. God, and it's like all this could have been prevented by just being competent at the debate.
He
Obviously,
tried.
Kamala Harris had to put on this type of performance, but you could have short circuited a lot of things going her actual way by just like if it wouldn't. It's just not that. Like
He
when he
tried to
says,
spin the spin room.
so when he says that she's been there for 3.5 years, but she could have fixed it then, and why haven't it been fixed? It's like that's not the case. You're not at the top of the ticket. You don't run anything. The actual Secretary of Defense have more control over the actual defense apparatus than the Vice President have control over anything. So to try to make it look like she's been there for 3.5 years, and how come all these things are not fixed yet? It's kind of crazy because that's just not how you're there in case of, and to tiebreaker in the Senate. Other than that, you don't really have a job other than flying around the world and standing in place for actual. You really don't have anything else outside.
That is not the job of the vice president. The vice president's job is to wait to be president in case something happens to the president. That's their job. And besides being a tiebreaker, as I said before, that's their job. That's it. That's their job. And if anybody who understands that will understand that. That's how that works. So others were
Given
trying to
how
say this, that.
now, given how the debates go and how conservatives really don't have to bring anything to the table when it comes to policy, ever. it would have served Trump better to have 3 debates. That's why they agreed to 3 debates off rip. And you know what the debate times are off rip. So that way, when there's an actual performance like could you imagine Barack Obama having that one bad debate with Mitt Romney and deciding after that debate, we're not debating it. I won. Make up whatever reason you want to of why. I won, and I'm not debating again. And that just ended. He literally would not have won the second term. There's no way he would have won the second
term. I suspect he would have just based on the record, but it would have been maybe even not much of a closer of a race because he did not do well in that first debate. I kind of go with the fundamental keys that Alan Lichtman really speaks about because I look at that very much. I look at that very similarly myself. That's why I was really concerned about, Biden actually, stepping down. But, things have kind of turned around pretty well in that respect.
And think about why Mitt Romney won. Mitt Romney won because he lied about everything. And he wasn't fact checked on anything. And Republicans are graded off optics, not policy. They're never graded on policy. Ever.
Well, I also kind of I want to say this, MOT. I feel that also Obama. I don't want to rehash that whole thing, but Obama was not at his best. Obama did not really sit back and speak on what his achievements were for his administration. They didn't really do he didn't do a very good job at that, and did not counter how would I say Romney very well on the business piece and how he was going to further move the economy. Obama was not at his best, and I was very angry with that debate, and Obama turned things around. But you have to be on your P's and Q's when you get on these debates, and even though debates do not determine elections on the whole, it certainly gives people a good snapshot as to what they're dealing with as far as how this person is going to move forward with their prospective administrations. And Obama did not do a good job that first time around, so he had to come back. He had to come back. He had to come back through. He had to come back through. And Trump here right now is not going to come back through because he understands he's got nothing. People talk about what is Kamala saying about her, her, what are her policies? What are her this? What are her that? And that's all you hear. You hear these guys in the manosphere. They'll be talking about this tonight somewhere on some obscure on some live stream somewhere, talking out the sides of their ass. But at the same time, they will not talk about how Trump has not spoken about anything that he's going to be able to do.
Nothing.
He's not.
He's running.
And he could not.
His whole campaign is, "I'm not going to jail. Vote for me. Vote for me, so that way so that way I can get to Supreme Court to actually drop these federal cases and muck up the actual state cases."
In fact, he's not even made a case as to why he even wants to be president again.
I haven't said anything about it.
His
closing arguments were so quick. It was weird.
He hasn't even made a case for that. He has not spoken at all on what is he looking to achieve? What are his policies? Drill, baby, drill. What? That's your policy? How else are you going? We're gonna tax their goods. You're gonna tax their goods and raise money this way. This is what you're gonna do.
See, he's never been a consumer class guy, though. He's never been a consumer class guy. So why on earth would he cares about punishing countries? He doesn't understand about punishing these quote unquote countries. He's going to be punishing the actual consumer. Since he's not been a part of the consumer class and never intends to be at all, he doesn't care about who hurts. But like a lot of these people are just proven servers. They don't like. the most people who defend capitalism the most are some of the poorest individuals on the planet. And they actually use the defense of capitalism to justify screwing over people without just cause. Oh, well, it's just capitalism. You never really hear people who actually part of the beneficiary class of that saying that. But you always hear somebody who's part of the worker class who always say something. And it really gets on my nerves every time I hear that.
You know, at the end of the day, all of this talk, you're not going to hear anything from him. He's got no policy. He's got nothing. All right, that's what you've seen from these people. They have nothing, and they're not going to come through with anything. What's another debate going to do for them? Where, if you really want to get into the weeds, she'll get into the weeds. They won't be able to get into the weeds with her. They won't be able to do it. Trump will not be able to do it. He will not be able to stay on point. He will not be able to do that. He will not be able to do that. So another debate, he will not be able to do that. So another debate is not going to do him any good. It'll do him worse. They'll beat him down even harder, and they'll come in with the stronger policies that this guy will not have. He won't have any policies. He'll be sitting there talking about watch the vice presidential debate and see how that goes. Right?
Oh, that's going to let that.
And watch how that moves. So right here, it's not really beneficial for Trump. I don't believe to get out there again. If I were him with that debate performance and the cats and eating the dogs and all this craziness, I would maybe I would be looking to hide it as well. And hopefully, they're going to try to do what they're going to look to do to suppress the vote, pull their shenanigans potentially, with what they can pull in the various swing states, with keeping the vote down and eliminating voters and so forth in some crazy ways, and try to take it that way. I think that's their major plan, and I do not believe that they're really going to be able to take this thing if this is a turnout election. This is a turnout election. It's going to be very difficult for these guys. If this
None
is a
of the
turnout
actual
election.
polling apparatus judges the enthusiasm or lack thereof.
Nah, I'm saying right
People
now.
underestimated the actual enthusiasm gap for Republicans when it came to 2016. They vastly underestimated the Democratic enthusiasm gap of not letting Trump back in for 2020. And they are vastly underestimating the younger generation getting involved with politics in 2024. It's going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be that.
It's difficult to say, as we say. It's all up in the air right now. But this is going to, if this is a turnout election, things are going to look a lot different.
Per swing state, per battleground state election, less than 2%, probably less than 2 or even 1%. But Trump is not going to get in there by 100 and something thousand votes between 3 states. That's not happening. It's not going to happen.
The numbers are not really there. But as I said, this is the turnout election. Things are going to be very, very, very interesting if this is a high turnout election. And it looks like people are very, very much polarized. And I think you have people who are itching to get out here and vote, especially many first timers. So this is going to be a turnout election once again, as we look at it, and there are many of those who are inside of the Republican establishment that want to see MAGA die, and for them to move forward, this is something that's going to have to be essential.
But I'm leery about bringing these people around as well. So the only thing we're doing is bringing moderate Republicans in to fight against, so that way we can fight their battles for them. And I don't think that's a good idea either.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that's going to have to be addressed. Because I don't think Adam Kissinger is just going to be here forever Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney is just going to be here forever. They're just using us to get to beat their people so that way they can go out however they're going to go out. I mean, Trump is not going to die for like another 10, 12 years. So that dude's going to have a stranglehold on the party for a very long time. I don't know why these people think it's going to be a one and done once he's not, you know, candidateable age, that he's not going to have sway over the party until he's dead. I don't understand why people are not looking at it.
Well, you're gonna have some big fighting going on in there because you have to look at, and this is what these guys don't want to answer, and they don't want to hear this. They don't want to talk about this. They talk all this other stuff, but they don't want to talk about this at all. They try to call them rhinos. Don't even know what a rhino is. But why do you have over 200 former, Republicans who were there, former vice president, all of them, going to call them rhinos? Look at their voting background. Look how they voted. Look at what they voted on. Look at their records, and then call these people rhinos after that, who are not supporting the former president, who are moving beyond that, and moving towards Kamala. How do you explain that? Rhinos from ignorant folks who want to make ignorant statements that don't even know what a rhino is, don't even really know what a real conservative is, but yet they cannot answer that question. They can't look at that. Look at their voting. Look at their voting records, and then you sit down and you tell me if they're rhinos or not. You just have to look at that. You won't hear any answers on that. They can't answer that. Why is this going on? Why is this happening? Why are they supporting somebody like Kamala? Why are they doing that? You'll hear a lot of stupid answers behind that from these folks, but you won't hear what the real deal is behind a lot of that. Why are you looking at many of the people of the internal security apparatus here in this country,
The intelligence
community, who don't want to see the former president here again? Why? Why is this? Because are they rhinos too? I mean, seriously, you have to answer those questions.
Are they rhinos too?
You know,
Part of the military industrial complex, or are they rhinos?
Your neocons, they rhinos too. I mean,
Josh
you have to sit down and you'll hear no answers from them. But this is what's going on. So, but Kamala is poor choice. She is not competent to do X, Y, Z, and so forth. It's ridiculous. And we saw the outcome in this debate. And I don't think there's really much else to say. And when they fact checked him, how many lies were seen?
I mean, he tried to double down on it in the middle. That's not real.
Anyway, I think that's about it. I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's strategy would have been okay if there was 3 debates. If there's 1 debate, it makes absolutely no sense for him to actually do things the way that he actually did it. That's my main point. If you're going to have one showing and one showing, you got to put your ass into that actual show. You could go back to being crazy on the campaign trail, but at some point you got to get down to business. And he haven't shown that he can get down to business at any point in time. So that's just where we're at. So, any future predictions about? Okay, so do you think there's going to be a debate? Is it going to be an absolute bloodbath for JD Vance and Tim?
The way I'm looking at Walz, the way he's moving and throwing a consistent beat down around the country as Kamala, kind of gets ready and gets back on the campaign path itself after this debate piece and so forth. Looking at Tim Walz, I think things are gonna. I don't think we're gonna see much better coming from their vice presidential candidate, Mr. JD Vance. I don't think we're gonna see much better from him. He'll certainly be better than Trump, but going against Tim Walz and how he's gonna he's going to be dealing with them, and sticking to the record on them is going to be a tough road to hoe. It's going to be a tough road to hoe there. Oh, MOT, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
I think that there could be something that could be a lot worse from him not coming back.
And what could that be?
I I think that it's a flat out loss. If he doesn't come back for a debate, like he could say there's not going to be a debate now, and after the Tim Walz, JD Vance debate, say that okay, I'll do another debate. If he flat out doesn't do another debate, this is it. He's not coming back. And there are ballots that are going out right now. There's going to be going out in a couple of weeks. And if this is the only thing that you got, it's over for him. It's literally over for him. If he doesn't come back for another debate, if this is the taste that he's leaving in people's mouth, there's no way that he's about to win his presidency. No way.
He said he doesn't want to come back. Okay, PBS was looking to have a for the next channel that they want to have it on. He doesn't want to be on PBS. You know, public broadcasting system. You know, they're going to be in there, not playing games. He wants it on Fox. All right, when Mike's open, he wants it there. Nobody fact checking. These are the agreements that they want to agree to. No fact checking. Wants the mics to be open. Wants it to be on Fox News. All right. So the next debate was supposed to be on PBS.
Moderated by Jesse Waters and Sean Hannity, because they'll be fair to him. Okay.
That's what he wants, because he was thinking just because they fact checked him with ABC, they're saying that the moderators were unfair and so forth. So I mean, this is what you're talking about. No, he's not going to do another debate. He's not going to do it. I don't foresee him doing another one. I don't foresee him doing another one. If he does, I will be surprised. You know, and I would like to see another one. I certainly would like to see another one. You know, they wanted another debate certainly with Biden. Biden left, so now they now they don't look too good. Now they don't want to do another debate. You know, okay. Well, you know, I don't think we'll see another one with him. But if we do, I would very much like to see that. But I think we're probably going to be looking more forward to looking at the vice presidential debate coming up, as opposed to the former president getting back in there with Kamala and looking at her with her eyes looking like gleaming black orbs, looking through this guy, ready to tear him out the frame once again. Trump is not in control. He's not in control. He's not in control of the facts. He's not in control of the medium, and he's got a problem with that. So, you know, Kamala really wants another shot at him. She really does, and he knows it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's on shaky ground. I don't think there's a way he can fix it. I don't think he's going to get better at all. I don't think he's going to prepare more than he did. I think he wants to just get this over with. And that's just where we're at, man. And one thing that is certain is that there is no black conservative. All these black conservatives in this space who are content creators, nobody covered the RNC. Nobody covered the debate. Nobody's out here making excuses like he won. It was all a grift. It was all a work. They were all fake, fraudulent the entire time.
They can't spell conservative. I look at them, laugh at them, and have no respect for them. That's how I feel about them. And I say that with words of blood and steel. Now, I understand what a conservative is intimately. I understand what a liberal is. I understand what a conservative truly is, liberal, so forth. I understand this stuff politically very well. I don't respect them. Anyway, that's my view on that. My opinion is very bad about them. But also, you know, I am down with those black Republicans who understand what the black Republican agenda really is about, or really should be, and really to bring more blacks into the Republican Party. And you see very few of them really walking around these days. But anyway, that's pretty much it there. And I don't really know what else to say, because I haven't seen one black conservative yet. I ain't seen it.
That's about it, man. So what's going on, XC? So that's it for the show, man. Why would Donald Trump not want to agree to another debate? I think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's good. I think you can do a one and done if you win, if you have a strong showing. But if this is your strongest showing, then dude, you can't be president of the United States. No matter how many people shoot at you, no matter how many people who want you out of here from your own side, that doesn't give you more credence into being president of the United States to solve all of your personal problems. Sorry. That's not a good reason to get you in there even more. Sorry about that. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through. Man, tomorrow you guys have a really nice rest of y'all night.